Hi, everybody. I'm Jon Gregg. I look after advertising for SkyGrid, based out in Silicon Valley. Quick show of hands, because this is case study number 6, I think. How many folks have taken a show of hands survey today? Couple? Okay, so this should be good. Great stuff from Chris and from Joy. We're gonna do a little 1-2, I think, particularly around the iPad. So SkyGrid is an app on the iPad, and I'll get into that in just a minute. I want to first thank Lisa and the IAB team, and thank our partners, Dynamic Logic, American Family Insurance, and Mindshare for being a part of this iPad sort of groundbreaking study, we think. It's really exciting because in the last few months, we've all heard a lot of chat about the iPad, tablets, and portable personal PCs, we'll call them. How many devices can I carry? What are the actual use cases? What about cloud connections and multitasking? How am I actually going to connect with brands? This hopefully starts to shed a little bit of light, but it's the first chapter. Our gut tells us that after 3 million of these devices in households, that this is a unique opportunity for brands to engage with consumers in a more personal, immersive, multi-touch way based on time of day patterns, et cetera. So results sort of help get that through. To give you a little bit of frame of reference for the actual case study here, because real show of hands, how many folks have used SkyGrid? Sky Mall. Sky Mall, a few more. Okay, they're different. I'm gonna flip over to our little Elmo presenter here and give you a live, probably 60-second intro of what SkyGrid looks like on the iPad. There we go. My kids have made it. Very exciting. SkyGrid is a stream browsing platform. We'll talk more about this after today. I want to focus on the case study. But unlike web browsers and search engines, our technology and our platform browse streams of information as they move across the internet. So what we do very quickly is allow consumers to take a look at featured news of the day here, whatever's most relevant in the moment, from over 30 million sources based on the speed of information. We allow them to take a look at categories that are of interest to them and break it down a little bit further. And over time, we allow them to add favorites, brands, topics, cities, or people that they're interested in. I just want to give you a little bit of a frame of reference. If I happen to like one of these streams, talk about Motorola's $1.2 billion sale today, I can take a look at something coming from Dig. I can pull this into my browser on the right, depending on connection speed. This is a Wi-Fi network. We can spend more time on that after, of course. We can flip back, I think, now to the presentation. So most of us in this room have seen over the last 15 years the problem of information overload get solved a couple of different ways. First, in the mid-90s, pretty quickly, directories came around to categorize and create a structure around thousands and hundreds of thousands of websites. Did a great job. In the 2000s, search engines were leaned on quite a bit more heavily as consumers had to connect with billions of pieces of information covered all over the ether. So now we have a new problem. It's a new challenge. Information overload that comes from millions of sources, credible and reputable, generating new information every minute. And what we do, specifically at SkyGrid, is measure the internet. We look at Twitter, independent media, mass media, blogs, anything that's out there, and we have direct relationships with these folks. We take all the information that's moving quickly and bring to you what's credible and immediate in a relevant, prioritized, and personalized way. That's what you just saw. I want to move beyond sort of what's happened with SkyGrid and get over to Ali here in just a second. But to give you guys some scale, you'll see control group numbers. Since April, just on the iPad, there's 125,000 very active consumers spending over 11 minutes every day stream browsing on the iPad. It's over 5.5 hours a month. So it's an audience that's getting attuned to streaming what's happening in real time. These are the categories, business through entertainment and across, that are most interesting today. And in terms of time of day and patterns of usage, And this might be interesting for the iPad as a personal device, as opposed to our handhelds and our desktops. Monday through Friday mornings, peak usage. Monday late afternoons through evening, peak usage. Weekends, it's Saturday and Sunday mornings through noon, peak usage. These are the personal devices for ourselves, our friends, our family, and our social networks as well. Almost there, promise. So what we do quickly, so you can see American Family Insurance and start to see the case study here. We bring select brands as consumers open up their stream browsing sessions. We bring select brands into a story with consumers. So Audi's a partner. We take the best of TV, print, and digital, bring in video, allow the consumer to share the experience, visit the brand site because we're a browser, we pull it in, or close the session. And we monitor this maniacally. We're an engineering company. Here's the AmFam experience. This is what Ali is going to actually speak to. We allowed consumers to fly through a virtual home. This is an extension of a piece of creative that Mindshare and AmFam put together on the PC, but now we've redesigned it and reformatted it for the iOS specifically. Consumers could tap inside a home that represents the typical AmFam customer and highlight through different rooms and watchouts areas of the house that are of interest in terms of the security and safety of their families. Again, all the way through the experience, allowing the share visit capability or closing. We monitor time of day, we monitor experience length, et cetera. Hopefully, this backs up pretty well what Joy and Chris were saying in terms of the iPad-only study that we're about to show you now. This has been up for about 3 weeks, and we'll be back, hopefully, in a little while with phase 2. But I'm going to hand it over to Ali now.
Thanks, John. So what you see is an ad experience that's pretty native to, an advertising experience that's very native to the iPad. And what we did was SkyGrid approached us, and after they developed this ad model and said, okay, it's time to measure this. And it required some customization across how you go about measuring and developing a best practice for this type of research on the iPad, which I think we have that down now. And the key metrics we used to measure this were what's displayed: brand awareness, advertising awareness, brand favorability, and purchase intent, actually behavior intent. It's a high involvement category. We wanted to keep the question small. We wanted to keep the questionnaire length small because first time something like this was being done. In addition, we captured some self-reported demographics and iPad usage information from the respondents. I think in the future, we would certainly be looking to get some behavior data directly from SkyGrid and integrating that with attitudinal data at a respondent level to get a bigger, richer picture. Okay. Study methodology, slightly different than what Joy talked about. But again, most of you who've done studies like this are no stranger to this. We measured the campaign. We went in and performed a measurement right before the campaign started. Right before the campaign started, we had about 217 respondents in control, and we had about 108 respondents in exposed. Again, the time frame for this is extremely short. You're looking at about almost 2 weeks or so, with the expose being done in over literally a 5-day period, and we wrapped this last Wednesday. The campaign is still continuing. The recruitment is still continuing. So don't go and take surveys, or do take surveys. But I think we've stopped it a bit. In terms of the recruitment, I think one of the things we found was we gave the users an option of taking the survey using something called the jump page, the dynamic logic proprietary technology, and then we integrated that for the iPad. The response rates that we got, or the cooperation rates, are about 10 times that of mobile, which we know are already maybe 5 to 7 times higher than online. So we're getting a lot of cooperation from respondents, so much so that we wanted to make sure that we didn't over-recruit and take away from the advertising and the application experience.